Okay, everyone, this meeting is now being streamed live, just FYI.
I'll say everyone ready. Okay, I will go ahead on to take the roll. Keely Sutton.
Present.
Megan Arthur.
Here.
Charlie Jackson.
Present.
Tanisha King. April Shilley.
She resigned. She resigned
Yeah.
from the team, so Ms. Chalet is not on the team anymore.
And Mr. Winston. And Ms. Ferguson is present.
So quorum is present. Okay, our first order of business is to approve the agenda. This was provided to you and copies are also here. Let me place a copy on. My apologies.
Can we state that the meeting has started at 4:25?
I was supposed to do that before you did the call to order, but we will now start the meeting at 4:25.
Team, I have a bit of feedback on my end. I'm hearing the recording and us live. If you could just give me a second. Team, I'm gonna push through. There's a bit of an echo, but if I look confused, then that's why I'm hearing myself and you all, and it's delayed. But let's continue.
If you go into the window with the YouTube, you can mute that. You can mute that YouTube window.
That's probably what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I have uploaded a copy of the agenda. I will also share on my screen.
Yep.
Oh, Dr. Mahan, may you share?
I cannot find the YouTube window, but did I hear you say, Ms. Sutton, that you want me to share the agenda?
Please.
Okay.
And I did realize I dropped it in the chat, but it, for some reason, went only to Mr. Jackson. So everyone should be able to see it now. Please let me know if you're able to see the agenda. Again, this was provided to you and copies are now here. Are there any changes to the agenda? May I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I, Charlie Jackson, motion to approve the agenda.
A second?
I'm Megan Arthur, second.
All in favor, please say aye, so the secretary can record your vote. All opposed? I'm sorry. All opposed, please say nay. Any abstentions? Please say abstain. We will review and approve the meeting minutes from our last meeting. The minutes have been provided to you. Are there any corrections? May I then have a motion to approve the previous meeting's minutes?
I'm Megan Arthur, motion to approve.
A second?
Vince Ferguson, second.
All in favor, please say aye. Or raise your hand. All opposed, please say nay. Any abstentions? Please say abstain. Are there any additional items? Any additional action items? All right. Okay, our first action item is to fill, I believe, vacant positions.
No, I can't find the YouTube. Is this it? And then I tried to mute it. That's it. Let's see.
I believe Dr. Mahan is having.
Okay, I think I've resolved the problem. This is a sound check just to see if I hear the echo. And I don't. Thank you. So, Ms. Sutton, did you, what was the last thing that you just said?
Our first action on the agenda would be to fill vacant positions,
Okay.
of which we have a staff and a parent seat open.
Do y'all have a parent in mind? I would be happy to ask my team if there's anyone in their calls to parents, if there's anyone that's particularly chatty or seeming to want to be engaged. I'm happy to if you don't already have someone you were wanting to reach out to.
I think that would be great, Ms. Arthur, especially because they're sixth grade parents.
Yeah.
And someone potentially who we know will be here for the next couple of years, and I'm sure we'll have a lot of insight and can contribute greatly to the team.
Yeah, okay. Let me check with them. When would we want to have that? Like, what does that process look like if once we kind of have someone we want to check on?
So right now you guys are having two things. One, you have two vacancies on your team that you need to fill, and the way that that works is that the principal brings a nomination that the rest of the team approves. So if you have people that are interested, you can pass the name up to Dr. Mahan, and then she can bring forward the nomination. Once she does that, the team will either approve or reject that nomination. The other thing that is occurring until February 28th is we are looking for 2 parents and 2 non-supervisory instructional staff members to declare candidacy for the 2024 elections. So these would be people then who would serve on the GO team from 2024 to 2026. So for example, if you have somebody who can fill Miss Cheely's seat, then they can also declare their candidacy. So they can fill out the rest of this year and then potentially be elected to serve for another 2 years. So those are things to keep in mind as you are recruiting. That makes sense? Yeah. Okay.
So then I will check with my team, and then Dr. Mahan, if there's someone that stands out, I'll send you that parent and student's name so you can be aware.
Thank you. I also have someone in mind. I'm going to reach out to that parent tomorrow and then bring that name as well.
Okay. So next is the approval of previous minutes for the month of September. What I see? September. And you can find that in the agenda. Are there any corrections to the minutes? If there are no corrections, may I have a motion to approve the previous meeting's minutes?
I, Charlie Jackson, motion to approve the previous agenda meetings minutes.
Thank you. A second?
I'm Megan Arthur, second.
Okay, all in favor, please say aye or raise your hand. All opposed, please say nay. Any abstentions, please say abstain. At this time, we will now approve the previous minutes for the month of November. They too have been provided to you in the agenda. Are there any corrections? To the agenda at this time? May I have a motion to approve the previous meeting's minutes for the month of November?
I, Charlie Jackson, move
Ms.
to approve the minutes for the previous meeting.
Is there a second?
Ms. Ferguson seconded.
All in favor, please say aye. Or raise your hand, I'm sorry. All opposed, please say nay. Any abstentions, please say abstain. Thank you. At this time, we will move to the next item on the agenda, which is the review of events. Dr. Mahan.
Thank you. I'm going to review you said the review of, we're at the action items, correct? The discussion items, I mean.
The recent review of events.
Okay, so that's going to be all within my presentation. A review
Okay.
of what has most recently happened at Price. Price did exit the CSI list, which you'll hear a little more about as I get into our discussion item number 1, and that's just our quarterly check-in. So to kind of give you an overview of where we are with semester 2, we just started back at January 2nd, I do believe. Started off with a teacher work day just to kind of review map data with our teachers and take a deeper dive into planning using that map data. We have not had any events up until now, school-wide events, given the time that we have had off and the unexpected break with weather. But we have some things coming, and we'll discuss that as we move forward in the meeting.
Okay, at this time, we will review the school calendar.
Again, we'll discuss the school calendar as we get into our discussion items.
Thank you, Dr. Mahan. So at this time, we will move into the discussion items. Discussion item 1 is the quarterly STEP check-in.
Excuse me. Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
The calendar of events, I think that we're supposed to discuss the events that happened since our last meeting, the school events.
Since our last meeting in December, the school event that we had was our winter party was an event that we had on the 15th prior to the students leaving for the break. We also completed the second phase of our winter map session during that time, which you'll hear more about in this presentation that I'm about to present. But those two things happened between December 7th meeting time and now. Do you have anything to add, Ms. Sutton, Mr. Jackson?
No, ma'am.
Thanks.
Okay, moving along with discussion item number 1, just as a overview of semester 2, starting with our vision. We exist to improve our community by empowering and equipping our students with the skills that they need to graduate and feel liberated, choice-filled lives. And we're doing this by making sure that we empower our babies through academic identity, skill acquisition, leadership development, authentic problem solving, and student-centered ownership, leading to them reaching their unlimited potential. And so from that, my team and I, we've decided to adopt a new mantra moving into the second semester, and that is making sure that we're here for every child, giving them every chance to be successful every day. And so that's a mantra that you will hear school-wide. And that's just making sure that we focus on the individual needs and potential of each child. So we're pouring into them and really living and modeling our mission statement by making sure that we give every child all of those skills that they need, and all of those different SEL components that we address every day that they need to be successful. And so that's our mantra for semester 2. One of the announcements that I wanted to make sure that I addressed is what I was saying earlier, and that we're no longer on the state's school needs improvement list, which is something that we're celebrating. It shows that the growth that we've had in a few academic areas, also the progress that we had with readiness, and the growth that we've had in all of our academic areas, as I just said. So this is on our website just for every parent to see. And it just is a testament of all the hard work that our staff and our students have done in order to have continuous growth and to exit that list. So that is something that we are celebrating at this time. Our school-wide goals still remain the same. Even though we've exited that list, we have created a sustainability plan that does not waver from what we've already started to do, and the work that we've already done will continue. So our literacy goals are the literacy goals that we started the year with, and that's increasing from 44.2% to 55% by the spring for those babies that are developing and above, and then also increasing 11.2% to 19% by spring for our babies that are proficient and above. Some of the action steps that we're taking to make sure that we reach this goal successfully is monitoring the effectiveness of small group differentiation in all of our content areas, and that includes connection classes as well. So not just core content areas. Monitoring the implementation of written and constructive response in all content areas. So this goes beyond just ELA, ties in our science and social studies classes as well, because I know that they're not named. When you think about literacy goal, we want to make sure that we're capturing that literacy is the root of everything that goes on with informational text in those classes as well. We also are monitoring the effectiveness and the use of IXL, which is our personalized learning platforms. And it says in the ELA and social studies classroom only because those particular subject teachers really monitor those students in reading when they're in IXL. Based on our action steps, we were able to see a growth. This is more high level, but it shows you where our babies were with our reading map score without getting in too much detail. Overall, for 6th grade, 7th grade, I'm not sure if you're able to see A. Let me move my screen. You're not able to see A. It's not in presentation mode, but I think you're able to see it a little better this way. For 6th grade, you'll see 3 columns. Actually, let me go through the columns first. You'll see the number of students with a valid score. So not all of our students may have taken the test, depending on their attendance during that 2-week time frame. You'll see a column of the number of students that were actually enrolled and then a completion rate. So it shows you exactly how many students tested out of the students that were here to test. We had a 98% completion rate in 6th grade, a 99 in 7th, and a 100% completion rate in 8th. As far as students that met or exceeded their expected growth in math, from the fall testing session to the winter testing session, you'll see that 50% of our students met or exceeded their growth in 6th grade in reading. 53% of our students met or exceeded in 7th grade and 50% in 8th grade. So over half of our students met and exceeded their goal. We'll have a plan to focus on the group that did not meet their goal and making sure that when we test again in the spring that those students meet their goal. Any questions on the winter map administration for reading? Okay, our New Mercy goal. Again, our New Mercy goal is to increase our babies that are scoring developing and above by 10%. So moving from 41% to 51% by spring. And that spring means when they take the Georgia Milestones assessment. For our babies in proficient and above, moving from the 3.1% of students meeting that to 12% by spring. We're doing that again by monitoring the effectiveness of small group differentiation in the math classes. We're also using something called a CUBES protocol to make sure that students are able to apply their reasoning skills in math and really explain why they're doing what they're doing, being able to spell out and write what steps they're taking to solve problems in math. And then we also have a personalized learning platform, IXL, and math as well, and that is implemented in the math and science classroom. Our winter map data, same columns as the reading columns. It shows you that overall, 6th grade had 97% of the students complete that test. 7th grade had 98% of their students. We had 99% of our 8th graders complete the test. From that, 57% of our babies in 6th grade met or exceeded their math goals in math, 50% in 7th grade, and then 49% in 8th grade met or exceeded their goals. We also have a school-wide culture goals, and that goal is to make sure that we're decreasing the numbers of referrals and decreasing the numbers of suspension days. And we want to make sure that those babies that have no referrals and no suspension days increase by 10%. So while we're decreasing the number that have them, we're increasing the number of students that don't have them. And so that's really what we're looking at. We're monitoring this through a Tier 1 support system called Educator's Handbook. And we would document Tier 2 infractions and above. When I'm talking about Tier 1 infractions, I'm talking about infractions that could be handled locally in the classroom. So any infraction that goes beyond a classroom level infraction would be Tier 2 and above. We also are implementing a PBIS plan this semester with a little more fidelity. So we've started off the semester with making sure that we conducted staff and student surveys. And we'll move on and use those surveys to start a calendar for the remainder of the semester on into next year. And the goal with that is to decrease our behavior referrals in classes by 10% this year. And that wraps up where we are right now as far as our academic growth. Am I having technical difficulties, or are you all able to see me? My screen is black.
Your face is frozen, but we can hear you fine.
I'm hoping I'm frozen in a nice.
It's not like
Nice
the
look.
worst. It's not the worst, but we can hear you just fine.
Okay. That concluded discussion item number 1 and discussion item number 2, Ms. Sutton. Ms. Sutton, are you able to hear me?
I'm so sorry. I don't know what happened with my screen, so I had to click out and come back in. I did hear you. So I heard you say that concluded discussion 1 and 2. At this time, let me pull back up the agenda.
You want me to move on with the information items, or is that something that you need to?
Yes.
Okay, so
but
go ahead.
we will now move to the information items. First is the principal's report.
Academic awards is coming up, so we want to celebrate our babies from first semester as soon as possible. There was a little delay with academic awards, just making sure that we had all the awards and presentation items here. So that award ceremony will take place on January the 30th at 9 a.m. here at Price Middle School. Again, we're celebrating all babies from first semester. Ms. Arthur, if there was something that you wanted to present during that time for those littles that you meet with, then we could get with Ms. Sims to make sure that, we get that information as well.
Thank you for offering that. Ms. Sims mentioned that was coming up in our meeting last week or whenever that was. I know she said it's a pretty short thing, so we'll let you guys just do the academics on that and probably jump in on the end of year awards, if that makes it easier.
Okay.
But we'll be there to cheer them on.
Say that one more time.
I said, but we'll be there to cheer them on.
Thank you. Our PBIS initiative, I spoke on that a little bit earlier. And with that initiative, just a reminder that the primary focus is to just make sure that we reinforce positive student behaviors that contribute to our school culture goals. So we've created that system. We want to make sure that we have a system in place that includes parents and student stakeholders, and that we consistently incentivize our students. So those are technical difficulties today. But yeah, that we consistently incentivize our students and their progress towards meeting that culture goal. So again, we have a plan in place. In January 2024, we conducted staff and student surveys. Those things have been done. So the surveys were complete within the last week. We will also review data with the administrative team. So our leadership team will be reviewing that data and the grade level chairs as well. We'll revise some of the live school based incentives for the kids. We use live schools right now to award points and provide incentives for our kids. So those revisions will be made based on that staff and student survey. And then we'll create a rewards calendar for the remainder of the year. In February, we'll roll out an updated PBIS plan and begin tracking our live school usage. And between February and May, we're going to continuously progress monitor live school usage and student buy-in, survey sample of the students and teachers monthly that will be done regarding rewards and buy-in. And then we'll compare the data moving forward and present that information to our staff. So that is an update on our PBIS initiative. As far as our High Five reset, our High Five, I wish I can pull it back up on the screen. Let me see if I can. So if you look in the corner, you'll see a little picture. Am I sharing my screen? Yes? Okay, I see a head nod. You'll see here what High Five looks like, and this is our local intervention. So each classroom has this here. It's the steps that our teachers and staff take prior to behavior becoming a tier 2 behavior. With the High Five reset in the second semester, all students had a clean slate. So we had students that were in this process last semester. They may have been at the after school detention level or have just had a parent conference and moving to the next level. But after having town halls with our babies at the start of the semester, every child knows that they have a clean slate and a new start. So that is our High Five initiative and the High Five reset for the second semester. Hey, open enrollment, Ms. Sutton, if you want to share a little bit about open enrollment and registration.
Okay, so at this time, open enrollment has been made available to all families and parents within APS. Letters were sent out last week with students, as well as pushed out via robocall, email, and text, letting parents know that beginning January 15th, which was on Monday, all applications for school choice are now open and available. It is also accessible on the school website. So parents have access a multitude of different ways in addition to support should they need assistance with registration and open enrollment.
Thank you. And then our Parent Vision Board party, Ms. Sutton is leading that through our family engagement program. So I'll let her give more information about that as well.
Yes, we're excited. We have quite a few families that have registered for our vision board. We thought it would be a wonderful opportunity as it is the new year to set goals. And typically we always do this with our students, but we also wanted to include parents and teachers in the process. And so we are having a vision board party next week, which will be on January 24th. It is on a Wednesday. All grade level teams will be available. Parents have registered via Google Forms to come in, and it's going to be a fun activity. We'll have our instructional coaches on site. Data has been formulated and will be provided to each family and student so that just like they, with their teachers, will be able to walk through also with their parents where they are academically, talk about some of their personal goals, and create a board together and what we can do in alignment to ensure that students reach those individual goals, as well as for parents. And so we're really looking forward to this opportunity. There will be light refreshments served for our families, and we're really excited about the opportunity.
Absolutely. And like Ms. Sutton said, taking a deeper dive in some of that map data, that information will be shared with the family. So each child has a scorecard just highlighting their growth in map over time, and then making sure that the students own that information and they're able to explain to their parents what their goals are and what things that they're putting in place to reach those goals before the spring administration. So I'm excited.
That sounds like a very cool event. I'm excited to hear about that too. Is that during the school day or after school?
It's after school. Ms. Sutton, it starts at 4:30, correct?
Yes, it starts at 4:30 and will extend until 5:30. So
Okay.
it's only an hour, but I mean, lots of activities, fun time. It will be in the cafeteria because we will have resources with boards and some cutting and some pasting and some things going on. So we wanted to make sure that we had adequate space. But yes, it will be in the cafeteria on the 24th from 4:30 until 5:30.
Okay, I'm gonna mention it to my folks in case they want to step by. I think it could be really cool for them to see what the parents are visioning, to kind of support what that looks like when they're working with them, with the kids in session. So I'll mention that to them and see if they could stop by.
Thank you. That would be great. Okay, at this time, we have concluded, I believe, all of our information items. We will now move to public comment. I don't believe we have any visiting parties on with us today. So we will move to announcements. Does anyone have any announcements?
I just would like to reiterate that our declarations for spring 2024 Go Team elections will be opening by February 1st. So we encourage parents and instructional staff to declare their candidacy to serve on the Go Team. Oh, and you can, when we get the declaration link up, you can find it at apsstrongschools.com. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jacoby. We have now reached the end of our agenda. Is there any additional business at this time? May I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Hi, Megan Arthur. Make a motion to adjourn our meeting.
Thank you, Ms. Arthur. A second? Did I
Ms.
motion?
Ferguson, second.
Thank you, Ms. Ferguson. All in favor, please raise your hand or say aye. All opposed? Any abstention? Time, the meeting is now adjourned at 5:01 p.m.